So I mentioned the other day that technology is now going over to is shortly going to go over to the other brand, the other channel, the other social media accounts, that being Scrapyard Techie, even though the video before this one was me talking about technology. So if that's going over to the other channel, what am I going to talk about now? Well, if you've been paying attention and if you've been listening for a little while, then you would know that the whole point of this exercise, or a very large point of this exercise, was to practice the public speaking skills. But if you've actually been listening and paying attention, you would know that the public speaking skills was then actually to talk about Christianity, about the Bible, about Jesus, about the things like that, to the point one day probably of preaching something. Or preaching about that. The specifics of that, not exactly going into that yet, because I'm not sure. I'm not well practiced enough. I'm not well versed in this yet. I don't even know if I'm enough research into it. But, everyone's got to start somewhere. So, you know what? Let's get back to this. Let's get back to the Bible. But you know what? As a foundation, as a forethought to that, I realized, because I was talking to a friend tonight, and was like, this was really a what the moment. It was like, you know what? Because I was born into a Christian family, raised in a Christian household, went to a Christian school, and then subsequently most of my life after that, prior to starting a business, worked in a Christian workplace or Christian workplaces, I did not have a lot of exposure to the non-Christian world. And you know what? You might think, well, of course you believe what you believe, but you know what? That actually kind of makes it harder, because then you've actually got to ask these questions and find answers outside of, well, not outside of that, but you have, well, I found that I had very little concept then of how non-Christians think, and the questions that they ask, and what their considerations in life are, what their life problems are, things like that. It's really weird, because if you weren't born and raised in that environment, you don't even think that's a consideration. And going the other way, then it's like, well, if I'm going to try and bring this message to people and talk about this stuff to people, then I kind of need to know exactly where they're at, what they're thinking, what their problems are, and, I guess what they need to hear. It's very interesting. So you know what? I'm going to have to explore that a bit more. I've been having lots of conversations with people. I've been, I don't know if you could call it researching, I guess researching a bit, watching other preachers, watching what other people say, and, sort of picking up patterns and things like that. But it's just interesting, because I'm starting to pick up on stuff that, has never crossed my mind, has never been a problem for me, has never been something that I've had to address before. And, it's been, almost a decade since, I stopped working in a Christian organization, started my own business, and, was doing that. But now finding that trying to bring this message of Christianity, Bible, and Jesus to people, it's like, well, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Not just being, in contact with these people, which, is fine, that happened. But to actually be trying to, what's the term? Trying to answer their questions about this stuff is actually a lot harder than I thought it was. So, yeah, very what the moment. It was not something that I expected to be quite as difficult as it has been, but it's very interesting and very rewarding. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that. But I guess the takeaway for anyone watching is, if you've got any questions about the Bible, Jesus, Christianity, anything like that, especially as a non-Christian, please throw them at me, because I want to sort of know what you guys are thinking, and sort of know where you're at, and just all sorts of stuff. Not in like a believe what I believe or else kind of thing. It's like a, what's it actually like? Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. And I hope to see you next time. And if you'd like to follow along on this journey and stuff, you can either follow or subscribe here, or you can go find Scrapyard Techie for the tech stuff and do that. Thanks. Bye.